crinkles out of the way. All right, so we've got two in here. Our two very identifiable dogs. Not real hard to figure out what these guys are. So we've got a little pug, and that is Cecilia, or Sicily, I guess. And then the black and tan is, of course, a mini Aussie, and that is Nikita. So, now these little guys, come here, you two. Come here. Come here, you little snugglebug. Come here, you little snugglebug. All right, these two, when you look at these guys, we use parent weights, you know, to try and predict where these guys are going to come in at. And these guys are both opposite sides of the coins. So like the mini Aussie, her parent weights are in the 24-ish range, you know, but as big as she is right now, my guess is she's going to go bigger than the parents did. And then when you get to the pug, her parent weights are kind of in the 16 to 20 range, but like for a pug, like this is a munchkin pug, okay? This is a teeny tiny little pug. I'm going to be surprised if she even gets up to what her parents were. I really don't think she's going to. You know, so we've got two opposite sides of the coins here. Like I said, we use the parent weights as a guide to try and depict where these guys are going to come in at. And usually it's pretty accurate, you know, but in this case we've got, like I said, two opposite sides of the coins, where I think she's going to come in bigger than her parents. I think this one's going to come in smaller than her parents. We'll see how that all works out, but anyway, so that's just a little bit on their weights. You know, we do have their anticipated weights posted, but like I said, I think we have to factor in, because one of the things we look at also is not just what the parents were and say, oh yeah, they're going to just automatically duplicate that, because they don't always do that. We have to take a look at what they are now. You know, what were they at 8 weeks or 9 weeks when I got them, and kind of extrapolate out a little bit and say, well, hey, where's this pup going to come in at? You know, so anyway, we look at a couple of factors, and normally when you combine the two, you get pretty close. But the weights I posted for these guys, I might not be on the money this time, so we'll see. Anyway, so mini Aussie right here. This is Nikita. The one in my face is our little pug, Cicely. So these guys are both shedding dogs, okay? They're both short hair here, so, you know, not real easy to blend in. You stay here with me, come here. Real easy to blend in. It's a neutral color, and it's shorter coat, so, you know, her hair's not going to be too much. With our little Aussie, this is a mini Aussie too, by the way. With our mini Aussie, well, actually, they're both registered. But with the Aussie, she's going to get a double coat. Right now she doesn't. She's still a puppy. So this is just her puppy coat, but she will get, as an adult, she'll get a heavy guard coat that comes across here. And that guard coat is intended for her to be like out in the elements and stuff, be it the snow, be it the rain, whatever. And even in the summer, you know, one thing you don't do with an Aussie is actually like shave them down. I've seen people do that thinking that they're going to actually keep their dog cooler by shaving them down in the summer, and you actually don't want to do that. God gave them this coat for a reason, and that guard coat, that guard coat actually also in the summertime protects them from UV lights from the sun. If you want to keep your dog, your shedding dog, your double coated dog like an Aussie, you want to keep them cool in the summer, simply comb them out. Use a slicker comb, use a hard comb, get the undercoat, because the undercoat is the thicker part of their coat. The guard coat really just kind of lays over them, but the undercoat, which is the thicker part, that is the down type of thing. That's what's going to get them warm. So in the summer, just comb that out real good, and you'll be okay. Well, you want some belly rubs? So with your Aussie, we'll talk about her specifically now as far as training and things go. Of course, your Aussie is a herding dog, super intelligent, very, very intelligent. These guys respond to a lot of different training methods. You can use clickers, you can use bells, whistles, kind of whatever. Um, Super family dog here, very active dog, of course it's an Aussie. They love to run, they love to be outside, love to be outside, and like, it doesn't even matter. Right now, you know, Ohio, we're in Ohio too, by the way, in case you didn't know that. I'll get to that in a second, but, Ohio, you know, this week for Ohio has kind of been not real great. Some kind of snowy stuff going on. We got some cold temperatures rolling. We got a little bit of an Arctic front that we've been dealing with, you know. We're only dealing with temperatures in maybe the 20s. So not real pleasant for us people, but for somebody like this, those temperatures wouldn't even bother her, not even phase her at all. They're used to being out in those kinds of temperatures, and they're used to being outside. Like I said, they love to be outside, and just really enjoy it. Hi, are you getting in my face? I can't talk if you're in my face, huh? How about you look at them? So, with the Aussie, obviously very social, very loyal dogs, very loving dogs. These are great with children. Keep in mind, an Aussie is a herding dog, so the oh, the the dedication they put into herding and watching over their flock, they also transition that to you know, and their family. So if you're looking for a great family dog, a nice dog if you're an active family and you want to do hikes, maybe you go to the parks in the summer around Ohio, Hocking Hills or whatever, you know, an Aussie is a really good choice. And again, this is a mini Aussie, so she's only going to be, you know, half the size of what a regular Aussie is. Most normal Aussies, full-size Aussies, 40, 50 kind of pound range. You can go a little bit bigger sometimes. I've seen some bigger males, but this little one's going to be in the mid-20s when she matures. So wonderful Aussie package, wonderful Aussie love, just a little bit more compact. So that is a little bit about her. So we'll talk about this one in a second. I'll tell you a little bit about us. So we are Your New Puppy. We are located in Cincinnati, Ohio, and this is Friday Night Live at Your New Puppy. We do this every week. And this is what we call our puppy showcase. So we're really just talking about our dogs, telling you, you know, traits and characteristics. You got two different guys here, a pug and an Aussie, going to fit two very different families. So, you know, they're both in their own right cute and adorable, but it might not be, you know, the right dog for you. And that's really being educated about your purchase, being educated about what you're bringing home into your house. Being realistic about what you're bringing home into your house. You know, does this Aussie fit your lifestyle? You know, maybe you're a newlywed, maybe you're single, whatever. You're getting out on your own, but you've got a, you know, 800 square foot apartment, something like that. For a dog like an Aussie, that's really not the best environment for them. Unfortunately, they're active. They need time. They need room to play. Where like this little one would probably be a little bit more suited to an apartment, you know. So just a couple things there, you know, to consider when you're looking for a dog. But anyway, a little bit more about us. Like I said, we're in Cincinnati. If you are local to us, obviously swing on by. You can get, these are the play areas. We get you out and let you interact with the pups and sit down here with them just like I'm doing and play with them and stuff like that, and get to know them a little bit personally. You know, the pictures on the website are great. The girls do a really good job, but a still picture is just a picture, and it's very hard to tell personality. You don't know personality till you meet them. You know, when you get them down here and get to work with them and see how they respond to you, their personality, you know, and I tell this to so many people so many times, personality is your number one and always will be your best pick for the fit, you know, to fit your family. You know, you can have your criteria as far as you don't care if they shed or you don't want shedding or whatever, or you need hypoallergenic or, you know, something better for allergies, things like that, you know, which an Aussie is not. You know, have your criteria, but in the end, personality, how that dog responds to you and reacts to you, that is going to be the best pick. That's always the best way to pick a dog. It doesn't matter what color they are, it doesn't matter what's under the hood. as far as male or female. These are minor things. These are things that might be personal to you, but are not relevant for the dog itself as far as it fitting your family. So, and that's what Friday Night Live is about, is to talk about these guys and tell you just a little bit about them. So this little snugglebug here, this is our little pug. This is Cicely, and she is, typical pug, silly, goofy, kind of. She got the squishy face thing going. She's like real content here. She's kind of lounging, So we've got the very squishy face, short nose, sort of effect going. Now that is a breed specific with these guys. If you know pugs, you know that. Pugs are known to have a shortened muzzle, very, very short nose. This can cause breathing issues in the summer, not so much in the winter, because you're not dealing with humidity. Humidity is typically what gives these guys breathing troubles. But her nose was actually already corrected. She was stenotic. Okay, stenotic would be a pinching of that nostril, okay? Where it pinches in, makes it very difficult for her to breathe as well. So we have actually already corrected that for you. So her nose is actually really good. The nasal openings are great. But still in the summer, when it's real humid, she will still have a hard time outside breathing, as far as in the middle of the day. If it's in the morning when the air is clean and crisp, you're okay. Later in the evening and stuff, you'll be okay. But it's kind of that mid-afternoon when you're at the highest heat, the highest humidity levels. That's where these little guys, they call that brachiocephatic. By the way, that is a shortened nose. That's kind of just the scientific description of it. Me, I just call it a short nose because it's easier to say. But anyway, so with your pug, like I said, she is going to be a shedding dog, and shorter hair, shorter body, smaller body, not a lot of volume, so you don't have to worry about too much there. Pugs are just goofy little guys. They truly are. They've got a very amazing personality. They got a funny little bark. It's not really even a bark. It's kind of a gurgle. I'm not sure what to call it. But they do have a bark, but it's kind of silly too. But a lot of character, a lot of personality. You get that with almost every pug. They're almost all the same, and you don't see too many that aren't silly and goofy. So just a nice little puppy. Smaller in size, like I said. Now she's probably going to be 14, 16 pounds when she matures. Not much grooming to do with her because of the shortened hair and stuff like that. This is a rubber curry brush, and it really just, these little teeth kind of use static electricity. So you can just comb through her just a little bit, a time or two a week is all you need to do, and it will really pull out any dead hairs. Hi, baby girl. It'll pull out any dead hairs, but you really not, most of her hair, like I said, it's gonna blend right in with the tapestry and the couch and everything else, or on your clothes, you're not gonna see anything. But, so you'll see these guys right now. They don't have a post up, their pictures up, I should say. Their post is up, they just don't have pictures up. Pictures post tomorrow after the Paw Squad does their thing, and the girls take all the pictures and videos and stuff that will post tomorrow, these guys. But we'll tell you a little bit more about us, and we'll talk about delivery and stuff like that too, if you're interested in something like that. But we're gonna head over to the next play area and talk about our next group of guys.
All right, well, Mark's making his way over here to the next playpen. Again, the bigger one was our mini Australian Shepherd, and then the smaller one, our pug. A little bit easier to identify. Mark will talk about these fluff balls in just a second here. A little bit more about us. Mark said he was going to talk about delivery just a little bit in the pen here. If you guys want to find out more information about us, check out our website. Website's going to be yournewpuppyllc.com. If you guys go on there, we do have pictures and additional information on the pups and on us as well. And then what you guys can always do too, if you have questions that we didn't get to during the live, feel free to direct message our page after the live or call us during normal business hours. Tomorrow we're open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, the website is yournewpuppyllc.com. Also, the little poodle there is trying to tell you the website too at the same time as me. All right, I'll let Mark go ahead and talk about the little yappy one there.
She normally is not that bad. She just wants some attention. So this is our little poodle, okay? That's the one I said when she got here, I said, this little girl's got lots of personality, and she truly does. So this is our little poodle, this is Pippi, and Truffle, this is Truffle. Truffle is a pure Yorkie, and he is chocolate and tan. So let me get down with you guys, come here. Come here. Yeah, hi. So, oh my heavens. Alright, so this is Pippi. Pippi is a red poodle. A little girl, okay? So she is very, very low shed. Alright, she really does not drop a lot of hairs. You might find a stray puppy here, okay? This is still their puppy coat. So once in a while you'll get some stray puppy hairs that do come off, but the adult coat is the one that's like really low shed. And of course poodles are definitely one, and actually this one is two. We'll talk about grooming and maintenance all at the same time because they're the same. So this is our little Yorkie, this is Truffle, and he is chocolate and tan. Both of these are very low shed dogs, okay? Now the poodle, of course, is going to be way better for dog specific allergies. Yorkies are okay, but they're not as good. The little poodle is great if you have dog specific allergies. So, you know, definitely, I know there's a lot of people that are poodle fans, and there's some people that haven't really experienced a poodle, and you know, some people will look back and you know, grandma or mom, you know, being by herself, and she had a little poodle or whatever, and it was kind of snappy or whatever. Poodles truly are not like that. They really aren't. Poodles are amazing dogs. I really, really enjoy them. I actually have one myself as just a pet. And I know a couple of our staff members have got poodles as well. But anyway, poodles are really, really, really nice pups. They're socialization. It's really about socialization and getting them around the environment that you want them to be involved in. And what I say, you know, like I referenced grandma that had a little poodle, so it was just this little poodle and grandma, and you know that the poodle was spoiled because grandma made her, you know, stuff to eat and things like that, and you know the grandkids only came around once in a while, so she didn't get socialization to those kinds of elements, and that's really important with this dog, but I bet any dog, honestly, any dog can be like that. Socialization is really important with puppies. And you know, if say you were say you're newlywed, or you're, you know, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and you're not even to that newlywed point yet, you know, but somewhere down the line, you know, your kids might be coming into your life. Those are things you want to think of, even though you're not really thinking about kids like at the moment. But you know, keep in mind this little puppy here. You know, she's going to live to be, I mean, the average lifespan on these guys is around 12 years old. You know, 9 to 12 is good. 9's on the short side, but you know, but 12 is kind of your average, and there's a lot of these smaller breeds that go even longer, you know, 15, 17 years. So basically you're kind of shining up the crystal ball saying, what's my life going to be 15 years from now? And you know, if you anticipate children or whatever, that's something you want to think about. So you know, you want to socialize, even if you don't have them now, you want to socialize these little guys to children and get them around. So maybe you have some nieces and nephews, maybe you got some neighbors that have younger kids. Socialization is really important for puppies of any age, of any breed. I guess I should say not age, but it's very important for these guys, you know, to be around those kinds of environments of where you think your life might be going 10 years from now. Now, a little bit more about just the poodle specifically. Of course, your poodle is a very intelligent dog, super intelligent. Now, these guys are pretty easy to work with. They're pretty easy to train. Poodles are great. They do really well. They respond very well to a lot of training methods. They are very good. They are very intuitive. So therapy dogs, A lot of people will use poodles for therapy dogs because they pick up on things like really well. You know, we're gonna have a standard poodle coming in here in another week or two, couple weeks, I believe. And of course, standards, well, I'll talk about that when she gets here, but standards are pretty amazing dogs also. You're gonna fall on your head if you keep doing that. All right, so with your poodle and then with your Yorkie, they both are gonna require grooming and maintenance. You're gonna wanna use a hard comb on both of these guys. It's a hard comb. I just have different, this will get through this a little bit wider, so this will get through the hair a little bit easier. And then you can flip and use the fine side to kind of fine tune it and stuff. So, but if you have any mats or knots or things, this will break it up a little bit better. There's different versions of hard combs. This just happens to be one that we were using. But hard comb with these guys, and you need to comb them through. With the little Yorkie, because his coat is straighter, so he will need to be combed out, but his isn't going to be as bad as hers. She's got a kinky coat. She's got a lot more fluff to her. She's going to need to be combed out more often. You know, once you're doing that, if you're doing that on a regular basis, she will stay nice and tidy, which is what she is right now. This will comb right through and, you know, really not snag up on anything. Him, because his coat, like I said, it's a straighter coat, so he's really easy to comb through. Yorkies don't get tangled up very, they can, but not very quickly. So you don't have to comb him out quite as often as you do her, but she still will need to be combed out as, you know, probably about him, I'd say probably maybe a couple of times a week, where her, I would definitely say, come here, sweetie. I would definitely say for her to comb her out about every 2 days, just because of her coat, and you know, work with it and stuff like that. Now, training with these guys, you're going to have 2 different levels of training here. Where you've got a pure Yorkie. This is Truffle, by the way, if you just happen to be joining us. This is a pure Yorkie. He is actually chocolate and tan. He is not black and tan. So he is a unique color. Chocolate, of course, is a recessive gene, but he is a chocolate and tan. She is red. Now, working and training with these guys, with your Yorkies, Yorkies are an independent type of mindset. They're very intelligent dogs because they're terriers, but you do have to work with these two very differently when it comes to training. Training is going to be different with these guys, and working with them. She's going to be easier to work with because she's more companion oriented from a dog perspective. He's companion oriented too, but he's a terrier and he's got that independent little head going on. So he's a little bit more headstrong. He's a little bit more bullheaded. So you need to be a little firmer when you're training and working with him, which is, you know, you can do it. It's kind of hard. He's got such an adorable little face, and it's kind of hard, you know, to be firm with him, but you do kind of need to do that and, you know, work with him and stuff. But keep your training with him, keep it very specific, keep it very scheduled, keep it very, everybody in the house on the same page, in other words. So if you have different members in the house, don't do different things. That one will confuse the dog, but in time he will actually learn to know who he can get away with from whom. You know, so mom's here, so, you know, she doesn't put up with anything, but dad's coming home and, you know, he's gonna slip me, you know, a chicken nugget under the table or something. You know, these guys, especially the Yorkies, they can figure that stuff out. And the same goes with different training methods. So it works better for any dog, but especially for a headstrong dog like a Yorkie. It will work much better to have a game plan, have a idea of what we're going to allow, what we're not going to allow, different things like that. So I told you I'd mention something about delivery. There is a delivery page on our website, so you can go to our website if you wish. You'll find the website link in our social media profiles, but and Michael will give you that when I move over. But in the meantime, there is information about delivery and how that all works. We do use ground transport, basically a van with, individual cages for the individual dogs and a couple drivers. So they, while one's driving, one's tending to the dogs and different things like that. I use delivery all the time. I get a lot of pups brought in on delivery. And it's very safe, it's very secure. I would rather do that than air flight. Nothing against anybody in the airport, but it's a little bit more personal, because the dog is always with somebody. So we do have ground delivery available for any of our dogs. One of the criteria is just that they have to be over 2 pounds. And we don't have anybody under 2 pounds at the store at the moment, so, but any of these guys are available. So if you're not from Cincinnati and, you're from down in Florida or New York or whatever, keep in mind that, we can still get you guys to them. The fee to deliver is, I think, is very reasonable. You certainly cannot drive from New York to Ohio for what they charge for delivery. So, it's a reasonable fee. So,
Hey, Mark, real quick.
Yeah.
Before you move over to the next playpen, we had a little bit of a request. I don't think you have enough time to fully explain it, but if you could just cover a couple tips.
Okay. Yeah.
We had somebody that has a poodle that's had a poodle that's for about 4 months. And they were just asking if you had any tips on how to get them to come back if they get off their lead, basically teaching them to come to you when you call for them. Essentially, if you could just give a couple tips, but
Yeah,
just a summary because it's
that
too
one-
comprehensive.
Yeah, that's a complex one. I start in the house, get them to come to you in the house, where you're in an enclosed environment. So that's where it starts. Use their name. Dogs will eventually recognize their name. They obviously don't understand our language, but they understand our body language, and they understand syllables. So her name is Pippi. So, Pippi, if you just say that over and over and over again, she hears Pippi, and syllables with names, typically 2 syllables is better, 1 or 2. You start getting into complex names, 3 or 4 or more syllables, it's very hard for a dog to understand their name. So I guess first off, let's keep their names simplistic. Even if they've got an elongated, like, registered name, simplify it down. Pippi is a good name for her, and that's one she would like. So in the house, get her to start coming to you. Use praise. Praise can be doesn't have to always be a treat, although you can do treats. But voice tone is very important to a dog. They understand a deep tone as negative. They understand a high-pitched tone, or what we call baby talk, as positive. Okay, so use things that are positive. Get them to come to you in the house in a positive sense. And then going outside, if they go outside and they're getting like all wound up because they're outside and they love to play, then we need to go out a little bit more, so that they're used, so that they don't. You want them to see outside. How can I say this? Outside should be an extension of your house. In other words, it's just another part where they can go and be themselves and not just be wound up. So if they're wound up, you're going to have a hard time recalling them. So we need to unwind them. And like I said, part of that is going to be making outside an extension of the house itself. So, if they're getting wound up outside, we need to get them out more so they get more acclimated to it, so that they don't see it as playtime. All playtime. It's okay to go outside and play, but it shouldn't be like all playtime. So, like I said, start in the house, get them to come to you in the house using their name. Use positive praise, use some treats to get them to come. When you go outside, instead of just doing them off leash, put them on a retractable. So retractables typically go out about 16, 20 feet, maybe 25 feet, depends what kind of retractable you get. So something where they can go and run, but you can still have the end answered by being able to click that lead and stop them. So get them out on a retractable, let them run, a little bit, and start doing the recall with the name and things like that. It's a learning process. This is very not even hardly Reader's Digest version of this. So, you know, I'm not gonna be able to do it justice. But there are things you can work with. I'm certain there's things you can look up on social media and YouTube especially. YouTube's got a lot of great training videos. And then of course, talking actually with a trainer, an actual physical trainer that can come out and work. And a lot of it, the biggest point is the excitability of what they're encountering when they go outside. We need to minimize that. So that when they go outside, it's just like, okay, we're going outside, we're gonna do our business. Outside shouldn't be a reward where they get all wound up. That's, once they get wound up, you'll have a hard time recalling them. So anyway, that's just a little bit, I don't wanna go real deep into that, but there's a lot on that one. That's not just a 5-minute answer. So I hope, whoever asked, I hope that does help you a little bit. You're always welcome to call in and we can talk to you and talk to you a little bit more, you know, and maybe talk a little bit deeper. But like I said, a trainer's a good way to go. So that was all for delivery and stuff. Like I said, delivery is great. We do offer it for our guys, and like I said, I do use it all the time. You know, I've got some guys coming in next week, and then we even use vans ourselves. You know, when we go to pick up our stuff. So I have my own driver and my own van that we use when we go pick guys up. So it's a very safe way for these guys to travel. And, you know, if you're interested in it, we can definitely make that happen. If you have questions about it, just give us a call. There's information on the website about it, but you're certainly welcome to give us a call. So we do have one more play area to go to, and these two, I've enjoyed them. Especially this little one, I think she's just cute as a stinking little button. But we've got a couple more guys to talk about, so let's get over there and we'll talk about them. We'll move him over.
All right. And we do try to get to as many questions as we can during the live and whatnot. We do apologize. We just don't have enough time to be able to cover all topics for you guys, but we do try to get a couple in there. If you guys do have questions that we're unable to get to, feel free to direct message our pages after the live, and we can try to get you some useful information. Then with that as well too, if you guys go on our website, there's a lot of useful FAQs, and there's a full list of all the pups we currently have available, plus a future litters page talking about what we got coming in as well. Website is just going to be yournewpuppyllc.com. If you guys go on there, there's a lot of useful information. Again, yournewpuppyllc.com. But I'll go ahead and pass it back over to Mark so he can talk about our last two fluffy ones of the night.
Yeah, these two look a lot alike, and they do have similarities. So first off, we have Tatum. Tatum is our Shih Tzu, and that is this little one. That's a little boy, pretty little boy. He's actually chocolate and white, and I'll get down and hone in on that in just a second. And then Argon, this is Argon. She is a pure Lhasa Apso. So we got a Shih Tzu or Shih Tzu mix and a Lhasa. Very similar dogs. Of course, your Lhasa and your Shih Tzu are, along with the Pekingese, those are all similar dogs. They're all from China, and they are just from different regions of China. Your Shih Tzu is typically a little bit smaller, and your Pekingese is typically one of the bigger ones. But anyway, very close in size. So, all right.
Hey, Mark, can you also hold up Tatum a little bit? The chocolate isn't coming through super well on the camera.
Yeah, chocolate doesn't come through. Let me actually get up to the camera. So chocolate doesn't, it's not going to. I actually put him on his post on the website. Beside his name, it does say chocolate and white. Chocolate, unfortunately, is one of those colors that is very, very difficult to photograph. And also in just the cameras and stuff, it's very hard to see because it looks black. But I assure you, I promise you, he is not black. This is chocolate.
We can see it now.
Can you see it? Okay.
Yeah.
Down here, it is going to look black, and when his pictures post tomorrow, they're going to look darker than what they are. But he's a very beautiful chocolate and white. Just got some awesome markings. He's doing almost about a 50-50 chocolate to white ratio, and just a beautiful, beautiful little puppy. But anyway, yeah, he is chocolate. So like I said, so this is Tatum right here. And then this is Argon climbing on me. This is Argon. She is our little Lhasa Apso. So as I said, let me scoot back. So as I said, your Lhasa and your Shih Tzu, although this is a Shih Tzu, but your Lhasa and your Shih Tzu are basically cousins. They are, all breeds from China. And carry very, very similar traits. Your Shih Tzu tends to have a little squishier nose. This is, we'll look at her nose. You can see she does have a shortened nose, but it's not as pushed in. Your Shih Tzu tends to be much more extreme as far as pushed in. Now when you look at his nose, because he's a poodle mix, so his nose, he's got some length to his nose here. So we've got a little bit of a length there to his nose. So, you know, that's actually a good thing because he's not as prone to the breathing issues that you run into with your Shih Tzus. He's not as prone to stenotic nares, which is a pinching of the nostrils. And that's because he's a mix, because he's got that poodle in him. Hi, sweetheart. Now, anyway, so Tatum is our Shih Tzu, and then Argon is our Lhasa Apso, little female. So sweet little puppies. Hi, babies. Very sweet, very loving little dogs. A little bit different coat care for these guys, just slightly. Again, like these are both hair dogs, and like with all our hair dogs, we always tell you to use a hard comb. So because he's got more of a wavy coat, will need to be combed out more often. His coat is going to be more prone to matting or twisting, just because we've got all this fluff to it. And like where he sits down, boom, on the, you know, when he sits on the floor and stuff, this will get knotted up. Are you coming up here too? Come on. This will get knotted up a little quicker, where if you look at her coat, little straighter in nature, which it should be. That's what a Lhasa is. It should be straighter in nature. So her coat will be a little bit easier to maintain. Your straighter coats are easy to comb through. They don't tend to knot as quickly or mat as quickly. But your curlier coats, your wavy coats, they do. So you do need to use this. Her, I would say probably about every 3 days. Him, I would say probably every 2 to no more than 3 days, as far as combing them out. Now, there are things you can do at home to help with grooming and stuff. So get grooming scissors, don't get cheapy scissors, okay? You want good grooming scissors. You have a sharp but very good blade, which trying to cut hair, if you had cheap scissors, it really just kind of binds up in there and you won't get it cut. So get yourself grooming scissors. These are blunt ended. You can see the rounded tip there, so this doesn't poke them. But with your little boys, or well, with any hair dog, do their backside. You can trim this down a little bit, okay, and get the hair away from his bottom. That will keep, because this hair grows here too. I mean, it's a hair dog, so hair grows everywhere. So you do want to keep their backside clear. Okay, that'll keep any poo from hanging up. In the case of a little boy, right here, this is already done, but we trim up their belly because this will get tinkled on. In the case of a little girl, as is this one, you would want to hold her tail up and trim down here, down the back of her legs. Okay, and note that I'm grabbing her tail by the base, and it's really just to get it out of the way, so that I can work, especially if I'm swinging, you know, scissors all around. Never grab the tail by the end of the tail. Okay, you'll feel, if you feel the tail, you will feel there's a thick part, like right here, and then I can feel where the bone right here goes from thicker to thinner. Okay, you can feel like a little notch in there. So the thin part, you would literally, if you tried to pull her by it, you could literally pull her tail off, which we don't want to do that. So anytime you grab their tail for security or stability, always grab by the base. So I always grab it by the base like that. So, but like I said, little girls, you would trim down the legs because they can tinkle on that. So around the face, you can do these guys around the face too. We're going to do his face because he's got just a little bit of tear stain here. So we can clean that up just a little bit. Very easy to do. I'm right-handed, so I have to flip him to do that, so he's looking at me. But very easy to do, to trim that up and get that hair away from his face. So look how pretty that is. All that hair's all the way there. And of course, you know, that's, it's easy to do too. When you're working with these dogs, get them used to being handled. That's a very important point. Get them used to being handled, get them used to being restricted, You know, when I'm working with the face, I securely hold the head, I'm not squeezing, I'm just holding it because I don't want him thrashing. So, you know, if he goes to thrash, I've got a hold of it. I'm usually using these two fingers, like around, just around here, okay? And then this is just kind of to secure. But that's just kind of to keep the head still, and then get them used to the scissors up around their eyes, okay? That's called conditioning, and this just lets him know that he's safe, okay? He's blinking, you know, so he's still trying to figure it out. But if you do this all the time, and if you're clipping around his face, and normally I would not do this on the floor, because this is too much they want to run. You know, so normally I would do it up on a table or something where they're kind of a little bit more isolated. But you can do this kind of stuff at home. These guys both will have hair in their ears, okay? And like I said, these are both hair dogs, and hair grows, you know, everywhere, and it literally will grow in their ears as well. Let your groomer take care of that though for you. If you've never plucked ears out, you know, we talk about it, and it's not really a pleasant thing to do. The dogs really don't like it, and the people don't like it because it's unpleasant to the dog. But I will let you know that it is actually medically necessary to do that. You need to get that hair out of their ear canal, okay? He doesn't have a lot in there, but he does have a little bit, but he's too young right now. That hair will eventually get dirty, it'll get yeasty infected, and it will cause ear infections. But eventually what it will do, if this knots up bad enough, it will actually cut off the air circulation to the ear, which will give you even more aggressive or more chronic ear infections. So it is very important for that hair to come out. But like I said, your groomer, when they're grooming these guys, she will take that out, she or he will take that out for you. That's kind of part of grooming a dog, and it just kind of goes with the territory. Now, grooming, we'll talk about that real quick. So these guys, like I said, are both hair dogs. Typically your first grooming is going to be somewhere around that 14-week mark. That's usually about when we start, 14, 15 weeks, maybe 13, but somewhere in that range. And then after that, you typically groom about every 6 to 8 weeks. Really just depends on how you want to keep them. The shorter the coat, the easier it is to keep at home. So if you've got a shorter coat, you know, the Lhasa, this is our Lhasa, so she's got a long flowing coat. It's very beautiful when it's long, like real long. Very beautiful coat, but it's a pain in the butt to maintain. It's a lot of work. It's combing them out on a daily basis, things like that. So, you know, if you've got a busy schedule and you're like, hey, you know, I love the breed, but I really don't want to, you know, be spending a half an hour a day combing my dog out, keep your hair short. And it's real simple. You know, this is a nice length. She looks cute and all, but keep their hair at a shorter level, and you won't have to deal with that. Puppy cut for him. This is our little Shih Tzu. So a puppy cut for him. Shih Tzus look really, poodle mixes look really stinking adorable in a puppy cut. It's just a shorter cut. They let the ears grow long and stuff. You typically let your tail grow long and feather and stuff. Keep their body nice, you know, about a half an inch, maybe a little bit longer, and just really, really cute little guys. So that is a little bit about these guys. If you guys have questions, get a hold of us, and we'll be happy to address them. But I'm going to scoop up both of these, and we're going to actually step out. I'll probably hand one of these guys off.
All right, Walmart's coming up here to go ahead and close this out here, and he'll talk a little teaser for next week. Again, the one he's holding is our Shih Tzu, Shih Tzu, and a Poodle, and then the other one was our Lhasa Apso. One of the common questions that we do get is price. Because we're dual streaming on YouTube and Instagram, it is against terms of service for us to throw out price on Instagram, but here's what you guys can do. If you direct message our page after the live, we can get you guys that info, or you can call us during normal business hours. We are open 7 days a week. Tomorrow, we're 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can get you that info. Where do you find the number? Check our website. Website's going to be yournewpuppyllc.com. But I'll go ahead and pass it over to Mark so he can go ahead and wrap us up here.
All right, thank you, sir. Yeah, a little teaser for next week, what we'll be talking about. So we have some interesting little guys for next week. Kind of excited. We've got a little Basset Hound, and she's just as cute as a little stinking button. She's a red and white Basset. We do have a Dachshund coming in. It's a miniature Dachshund. She is a silver dapple, so very pretty color pattern to her. Cavalier, King Charles Spaniel. We have a little male. He is black and tan. Not your typical tri-black. He is his own body, kind of like a Yorkie. So black body and 10-point markings and stuff. He's a nice little boy, quiet little Cavalier. He's going to be a couch potato for certain. We do have a Yorkshire Terrier coming in, a little female. She's chocolate and tan. Little Shih Tzu female. She's black and white and sassy. I like sassy, and she definitely is. We also have a Schnauzer, very pretty little Schnauzer. She is black and white, not party black and white. She is black and white, like solid body black, and white just on the tips of her feet, white down the tuxedo of her chest. Sharp little girl. Her black is black. I mean, like it's like jet black. I mean, like, so she's contrastingly sharp. Then we do have a Cavachon as well. That is a little boy. So a little Blenheim Cavachon. He'll be in next week as well. So that is our teaser for next week. So I am Mark, and on behalf of all of us here at Your New Puppy, we want to wish you a fantastic 2026.
Thank you guys for the likes, comments, and follows and subscribes. We appreciate it.